Okay, so I've just fired up PyCharm, but if you go File, Open, and then navigate to the folder that we set up, which I think is in what did I call it? Shapefile. Hang on a minute. Okay, so underscore Deo-Shapefile-maker, Deo-Shapefile. So we want to make sure that we get onto this folder, not this folder. This is the actual folder. That's just the folder that we made to put this folder inside of. So when we did the git clone and we did it in that, it made that directory. So that's the one we want to use. It's got a .git ignore and a hello git. So we'll just go new window. Okay, so this is our this is our base project in PyCharm. This stuff we can just ignore. Okay, so at the moment there's nothing really going on. Okay, the first thing that we're going to need to do is to set up a Python virtual environment to execute our code in. So the reason for doing a virtual environment, you can Google Python virtual environments, is so that we keep that version of Python clean. So if we go File, Settings, and then we go into Project, Deo-Shapefile-maker, and then we click on Python Interpreter, you'll see that I've got this Python interpreter already selected. Okay, you can just go onto the little star cog thing and click on Add, and you'll have different options in here, and you should have a Conda environment because we installed Anaconda, and you can say new environment, and that is going to be the location, that's going to be the version, and that's what it's going to be doing, and then you can just click OK. So now you can see that it's just put a bunch of, these are the packages that are included in this, and we're going to have to install some extra packages when we do our work. So the first package that we're going to need, or not in any particular order, we click on the plus button. Your plus button might be down here or up here or something. It depends which version I'm running compared to you. They sort of move this little button around. But find the plus button, and if you click on install, then it's got nothing to show, but up inside here, these are all the different packages that are available for us to install. So PyCharm has quite a good package manager, so we can install extra things. We're going to want open PyXL. This is a Python library to read write Excel 2010, XLSM, and importantly XLSX and SLM macro enabled files. So highlighted install package, Python OpenPy installed successfully. Cool. So now if you close this, you'll see that it's there. Sometimes if you install something, it will actually install a bunch of other stuff along with it. It installs the prerequisites, whatever it needs to be able to get going. Okay. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to just make a folder inside our workspace, and we'll call it, we made a Python package, not just a directory. So we'll call it make Deo-Shapefile, make Deo-Shapefile. And it says, do you want to add it to Git? I'm just going to say add, and it will add that folder to Git. So when we submit it to Git, it's going to appear in there, okay? So then I'm going to make a new Python file, and I'll call it read Deo. Cool. Now we want to I'm just going to pause the video, write some code, and then I will unpause it and explain it. Okay, so as if by magic, some code has appeared. So up the top, we're going to import the pandas module and the NumPy module. If this is red, then that means the module's not installed. So if you go into settings and you look at your Python interpreter, if you don't have pandas, then we need to install it. We'll get to all the installs at the end, so don't worry about that too much. And I can help you guys through this. But we've made a class called Deo-Reader, and this is initializing it. I'm going to pass in the path to the Deo, and then that's going to set it. And then we've got a placeholder for our collars and our surface samples. And then we've got two methods on our class. One is read collar, and one is read surface sample. So the read collar is going to read DH collars using OpenPyXL, which we installed, and it skips the first row. Then it's going to drop any columns which are unnamed. So if you've got extra fields in the Excel file, like empty rows, empty columns, when pandas reads them, this is PD, the pandas module, reading the Excel file, reading that sheet with that engine, skipping those rows. So when we read it, we're going to say it may have these unnamed columns, so we're just going to drop those. And then we're going to drop anything if the entire row is 0, because sometimes if there's formulas inside the Excel file, like further down the row, then it will think there's something in them, although they're actually empty. So anyway, that will just handle that. And then we're going to replace NumPy nans, which is not a value, not a number, with empty strings. That's cool. So basically that's reading the collars and this is reading the samples. So if we say DEO reader equals DEO reader, and we point it to a DEO, copy as path. So DEO path equals. Now, importantly, when you use strings as file paths, these backslashes are actually significant, because \n is like a new line character and \t is actually a tab and stuff like that. So with a path string, we will just add r in front of it, and that will make it a raw string, and then it will ignore those things. So if we just run that, it didn't do anything, but it read it. So if I say deo underscore reader dot read collar, run it again, it says permission denied because the file is open. So we have to either write some code in here which won't let you do it unless the file's open, or we just let it crash. It's a bit of a dumb code at the moment, so we'll just let it crash, and we'll just have to make sure that we just close the file. With the file closed and we run it, now we've got a couple of user warnings, but it's read the file in. So now, when we read the collar, we created this DH collars, and that is a pandas data frame. So that is the pandas data frame. Pandas data frame, if you go into Google and you Google up Python pandas, you'll see it's a data analysis library. So you can have a sniff around there. But essentially, we're going to be using pandas to do some like reading Excels, making CSVs, doing different stuff. It's like a very powerful library. It's got lots and lots and lots and lots and lots of functionality. So you can do plots, you can do grouping, you can merge, you can do all sorts of stuff. So you can jump over there and just have a quick look. Okay, so we can read the collar. When we read the surface sample, you can see here it's got this extra variable called sheet name because we have multiple sheets inside our Excel files, right? So we have potential multiple surface sample sheets. So we can't just say read the surface samples because we need to know what the surface sample sheet is. So that's our next little problem to overcome is to handle that. But what we'll do is, for now, we'll just test it by just reading one in that has one surface sample in it. Okay, so if we look at this, I've changed the path to one that does have surface samples in it. And you can see here it's got this little squiggly thing. And if I hold my mouse over it, it says parameter sheet name unfilled. So that's a variable that we need to have. So we will call it surface samples underscore A and we'll run it. Permission denied because it's open again, because I always do that. All right, so close, run it. Okay, so there we go. So we read the surface samples in. So our next little job, now that we're reading them in, a couple of points to note. One, that skips one row. This one skips 7 rows. So we've read them in. So now our next job is going to be to turn them into shapefiles. So I'm going to stop the video there, and I'll make another one. So just to recap, in this video, we made our base Deo reader class using the pandas module to read and the OpenPy Excel module to basically read in and clean up the file and convert the sheets that we're interested in into pandas data frames. And then we've tested it and it's working. So that's that. Now, when I've written this code, I can go up into PyCharm and I've got this push and this commit. So I can commit and I can write a commit message and I can say Deo reader tested, and I can go commit and push, and then it's going to say what this is what you're doing, and I'm just going to say push. Now that's pushing the work that I've made. You can see down here it says pushing, and in a minute, if everything all being well, it will push it into that repo, into that online repo. I'm just going to pause it for a second there. There we go, pushed one commit to origin master. So that means if we're back inside our repo and we refresh it, now we will see, hopefully, at the shapefile maker, and we can see there's our code. Cool. So I'll pause the video here. I'll stop the video here. And I'll crack on to the next bit.